Hey everybody, it's your friendly announcer, Mills RX here, coming at you with the Week 16 Flock Checkup. It's a battle of the birds when the Falcons fly into M&T Bank Stadium to play the Ravens in Week 16. Now, the Ravens have once again suffered cluster injuries over the last couple of weeks, and now it's getting crunch time. We're getting closer to the playoffs, but I wonder how all these injuries will just play a factor into our preparation, how far we go, and even if we're going to get some of our most impact players back. So let's take a look at this week's injury report to see who is a little banged up and who may or may not take part in this game. Um, As you can as you can see, our injury report is relatively shorter than it normally is, but don't let that fool you. It's still pretty nasty, especially since we lost some pretty impactful players on both sides of the ball. Okay, we're gonna start up top with Calais Campbell. Now he suffered a knee injury last game, and we still don't have much information about the details or the severity of it. But since he wasn't able to practice at all this week, it leads me to believe two things. Either one, he has a knee sprain, or two, he has a knee bone bruise, because those two would keep you out at least a week. So as you can see, he's out and he won't be able to play in this game, which is really going to hinder our ability to pressure Desmond Ritter, who takes over under center for Marcus Mariota, and we won't be able to get that push like in the middle of our defensive line. Um, Tyler Huntley popped up on the injury report in the middle of the week with a right shoulder injury. Now, he had suffered some right shoulder soreness during training camp, and that had kind of everybody um, worried and was thinking, okay, well, maybe just some shoulder soreness. From what I heard, it was a slight right shoulder sprain, not an AC joint injury, but he pulled something in his right shoulder. But as you see, you got in a good throwing session in yesterday. He got in a good throwing session in today. He is listed as questionable, and he will be a true game time decision. Now, we haven't seen Anthony Brown or Brett Hundley, who are the other two quarterbacks on our roster, get many snaps. They've gotten some, but Tyler Huntley's been taking the majority of the snaps, which leads me to believe he may play. Of course, QB1, Lamar Jackson, he's still out with that left PCL sprain. A lot of people were thinking that he could play today. He could potentially come back this week. No, I don't. He was not able to practice again this week. He may be able to practice in week 17, but I don't expect him to play week 17 either. Week 18 is more realistic, but if he doesn't practice next week, he probably will not be available for week 17 or maybe even week 18. He'll be ready for possibly the first round of the playoffs. Hopefully, let's cross our fingers. But it all depends on the first two practice days next week. If Lamar has a DNP, do not practice on two of those days, heck, even one of those days, I don't think he plays week 17. But yeah, he's still recovering from that PCL, a slight PCL tear in the back of his left knee. Now, Marcus Peters suffered a right calf strain. It was a grade one calf strain, and those usually keep you out about 2 weeks. So, him not practicing this week is pretty much par for the course. I didn't expect him to play this week either. He it was a as we saw when he was limping pretty profusely off the field. Yes, it was a left calf strain. I wouldn't be surprised if he had some micro tearing inside the quad muscle or some of the other muscles. in the upper part of his calf. It's really he looked really bad. He looked like he was in pain and some discomfort, and so he's out. So yeah, three key people are out. Of course, Lamar, Marcus Peters, who starts opposite of Marlon Humphreys, and Calais Campbell, who's still dealing with a knee injury that we don't have info on, but it was bad enough to keep him out. Once again, Jason Pierre-Paul, normally on here for rest purposes. He's off the injury report. He's active. Ronnie Stanley, he'll be active, manning the left tackle spot, which is good. J.K. Dobbins is expected to be a full go as well too. He's averaged 100 yards over the last two um, games, coming back from his left knee endoscopic surgery, which is good. Still has a bit of a hitch in his run, but he still is looking. He's looking like the burst is not there, but I'd say the knee is maybe getting closer to 80, 85%. We'll see. But, but it's good to have him back in the lineup and being his usual very productive self. Now, as looking at the transactions that we've made a lot. Um, we released offensive guard Zach Johnson from the practice squad. We signed uh, we signed two wide receivers actually. One we got Mike Thomas. We signed him to the practice squad. We also claimed Sammy Watkins off of Green Bay's practice squad. And we did this because we suffered another big blow. We all know Devin Duvernay and we also placed Devin Duvernay on the IR with a foot fracture. He broke a bone in his foot. It most likely is one of the long bones in his foot, the metatarsal, or known as metatarsals. We don't know which one it is, but he did break a bone and he is out for the remainder of the season. He will not be eligible for playoffs, which is a really big blow to our wide receiver core, which was already relatively thin. Hopefully, we can get a boost from Sammy Watkins. Maybe he can take over, I don't know, as a slot guy. We'll just have to see. And we also designated linebacker John Ross to return to practice from the injured reserve. So those were the injuries and the transactions for the Ravens that we made this week. Now, really, the Falcons are coming into this one relatively healthy, which is which is good because they really they only ruled out one person, and that was offensive lineman Chuma Idoga, who is dealing with a right knee injury that has kept him on and off the field. There is some ligament damage. We don't know which one it is, possibly the MCL, but it's been bugging him all season, and he has not been able to um, stay consistently on the field and on the offensive line. So he's been ruled out, which is not good because they have a new quarterback, as I mentioned, Desmond Ritter, the rookie from Cincinnati. Um, he took over for Marcus Mariota, who was actually placed on IR because he needs knee surgery. That was a kind of big shakeup. But the offense is pretty much looks like it still runs through Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Cordarrelle Patterson, and even surprise rookie running back Tyler Algiers. Now they've made a couple. Now the Falcons have made a couple of moves as well too. They designated John Fitzpatrick, the 6th round rookie they actually got from the University of Georgia, hometown kid. He he's been on the injury on the IR pretty much the entire. He's been on the IR for the entire season because he had surgery on both of his feet. He had soft tissue injuries in both of his feet, and he had surgery to repair those. And he hasn't really he's had a couple of setbacks, which has kept him up. But just him getting on the practice backfield would actually be a big victory for the Falcons. So possibly good to have him back. They also put one of their backup running backs, Caleb Huntley. Not sure if he has any relation to Tyler Huntley, but we'll check into that. But yeah, one of the backup running backs, Caleb Huntley, he's been placed on IR and he will undergo surgery because he ruptured his Achilles tendon when the Falcons lost to the Saints. So that's a big blow from them. So look for Algiers and Cordero Patterson to get even more workload and carry that rushing attack. Also, um, Atlanta signed outside linebacker David Anini from the Steelers practice squad as well. So yeah, so yep, those are all the moves that they've made, and yep, that is the injury report for Week 16, and hopefully we can pull off a win because last week offense looked kind of stagnant. We didn't look like who we are. We rushed for 245 yards. That's Ravens football, and our defense played well, but I don't know, but those miscues, we just keep having those mental mistakes and miscues. Hopefully, we can get a W and probably put some more pressure on the Bengals, who are on top of the AFC at 10-4. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this content, leave a like down below. You can follow me at Game Medicine on Twitter and also Ravens Medical on YouTube. Thank you so much. Go Ravens and have a nice night.